Continue working on some 100 Kingdoms until that... Hello? What the fuck? Hey guys, welcome to day one of Apex Week. So happy I'm finally here, got done with the ride. We are here, it is really warm out, so please ignore the wind and the sounds of the constant always freaking leaf blowers. I am so excited, we're finally here, we have it, the big box itself. Now I am a little concerned, there's a huge hole in the bottom of my box, so we're going to look into that, but there's a nice little thank you sticker that they put on the side. Man, it is huge. So we're gonna get right into this. Before we look in it, what should be in here is the All-In Gamers. So that's the one that came with the diorama stands in it. Plus, you know, all the stuff that came with. I also bought the board expansion. I also bought a second Loba package. So one is for a friend because that's his character. And this is kind of like both of our games. I bought it, I own it, but it's like mine and his game to play together. So that's what should be in here. I have noticed on the Discord that some people are missing components, or Caustic and another character has been broken in their shipping. We're going into this blind. I haven't opened this yet. I just got in. So I'm hoping everything is fine and it's just superficial damage to the box it came in. I'm going to crack this open and we will see what's inside. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. We have the box here, and we have a piece of paper at the top. I believe that is mostly just so you don't cut shit up. And as we look at the top, I have my sleeves. So this is looks like it covers your everything, including maybe even the place that you put tokens and stuff in. So we got sleeves. Mine came bagged. People's have had theirs opened. Get out of here. I've been waiting 3 years. I'll freaking destroy you. Alright, so we have the playmat, which is awesome. You can also, just like Judgment, use it for other things. Foam blocks. We have one Loba. So we'll see where the second one is. But we have our first Loba. And then we have the game itself. So here it is. This is the box. Open. So for those who are wondering where your Loba expansion is, if you didn't buy an extra like I did, it looks like they've already put her inside of here. The rules for her expansion is in here, so I'm expecting her to be in here. So when we come back, I'm going to have the full camera out. Yeah, we'll see you guys in the next part of this video. I'm so hyped. So as you can see, we have the mat out here. If you bought the board game expansion and you wanted a mat, you had to buy 2 of these. So I don't mind. It's coming to stores here soon in a couple of months. So I'll just buy a second mat then. And then we have the double side, which is this. So if you were to play with the map extension, you have, as you can see here, some like dirt and stuff was coming onto the edge. And if you flip it over onto the dirt side, you can see stuff here. Now, with this, they give us a grid pattern. It's hard to see. I'll see if I can zoom in. So as you can see, these little dots here and these little crosses. That's there to kind of represent like where the center of a thing is and how to set up maps and basically movements. So the map works is a square is the center of a square is where these dots are. So wherever you see the plus signs, those are kind of like the edges of the square. Now these are 1.5 inch wide squares, I believe, for those who might want to keep the game going, or if for some reason they don't continue to port this game and you want to make your own maps or buy larger things like a Cheswick map or design your own art pieces. I'll give you the measurements for that. Look at it, it seems from inside the square to inside of the square, they're actually 2 inch by 2 inch. Look at it, we have the top. Now you may notice I have a little ding right here and right here. This box is huge and weirdly sized, so air getting caught in it is a problem. Now if you're a purist who likes to keep their stuff intact like I like to try to do, this is probably heresy because this is a Kickstarter exclusive as far as I'm aware, a special edition box that if you got the all-in, any version of the all-in, or you could have bought it separately if you bought, you know, the core box and other things kind of separately, you could get it that way. Box is really nice, little to no writing on it. You just got the main crew plus, like, you know, that. I don't know if he's actually in the board game right now, but they made this really nice art, really nicely printed on. It's got very faded right here, 2024 EA. Again, the reason why this says 2024 is because the box was supposed to come out a year ago, due to a lot of finalization finalization and other stuff, and then, you know, tariffs hitting, so they had to rush the American stuff out in the war, so they kind of use the train. They basically lost almost a year worth of, and basically in waiting for EA to agree with things and having to ship by boat and having to send stuff out to America first instead of following in order, they lost almost a year's worth of time. We were supposed to get this like a year or so ago, but I'd rather it get done properly and the people who make this actually get their money's worth and not just go bankrupt to try to rush a bad product and lose their licensing. Because playing the tabletop simulator version of this, really, really good. But anyways, I've rambled enough. You've been staring at this cover long enough. Let's open this. We have our instruction manual. Now, these can be a little like complicated to understand because they're just pictures. But I recommend, there's a guy, I'll link his video on here. He shows you how to reassemble everything. Then on the back, we have how to build your boxes and your trays. We get this nice sheet, which I really like. This is the quick reference, what everything is, what the terrain is, stuff like that. Things that, you know, games like Warhammer should have. But anyways, then we have our books, or Board 1 expansion. Again, we'll get into these books and talk more into it on the streams during this week. And we have the match play. So this is your more in-depth games, like if you're going to be playing at tournaments and stuff, or you want to play competitive, this is the book. And then of course there's the core rule book that would be in here, which I took out already. Hey, next off we have is these awesome punch cards. Now, if you bought just the core game, or you buy this later on in the year when they've released to stores, this is what you're going to be mostly using for your respawn beacons and stuff, is going to be this stuff. And I believe the inserts in here have it built in to hold these built. These are for the roofs, for cover, and little things to hold up stuff in your rocks and bushes. Those weren't physical. If you wanted to print out your own rocks and stuff, you can do that. So the guesstimated size of this is 2 inches. So it seems like everything's going to fit that 2-inch square. So for those who want modeling references, again, for the purpose of preservation of this awesome game, or to create your own terrain pieces if you want to go full 3D experience with the mat, everything is in a 2-inch scale. And then we have more roof stuff. We got the tokens for the loot crates, walls and doors. We got the heat sheet, or I think these are heat shields. That, or they're the lines that let you, oh yeah, these clip into those rocks. You got walls, a sheet of walls with their lines. It seems like they kept everything you need to build these stuff together. So this is a sheet of walls, that was a sheet of stuff. So that's all the punch cards so far. Next off in this here we have is, it's a little easier to see on here, so I'll bring it up. We have the actual like main core box boards in this nice anti-static foam, and this board is nice detail to the touch. Ooh, got a bunch of boards. Oh, because I got the board game expansion. Oh, Smarticus. Hey, so, and the board itself, you play with 4 pieces core, is about a little over 12.5, so like 12.6 inches by 12 by 0.6. And of course, it has this little cool thing here. I'm guessing this is how you line it up for setting it up. So you make sure all those little white corners point to the middle, I'm pretty sure, or to the corners. But that's the board. Yeah, they all kind of have that. Okay, so these, oh, okay. Maybe, yeah, okay, so half of them is the one side. Okay. I see what you're playing. So theoretically, if I was to paint up all these models, plus the stuff I already pre-made in the mat, I could have 3 demo games running of this. That's pretty choice. I do want that, because I do want to run demo games. So Loba is in the game. She was a Kickstarter exclusive. So if you bought it and you did your pledge manager right away, you saw that there was an option to buy her separately. Now, if you didn't do that, she is in the box. They put her in the trays with the other characters she can fit. So when I bought it and I saw that there was only 1 box out, because I bought a second one for my friend because that's his favorite character from Apex Legends, I panicked. And that's, if you're wondering where your Loba is, maybe you didn't see it, and you got a box like this, she's right here. She'll be in this area. If you bought just the core box and a certain amount of money, I don't know if you had to order her on the side, but I think you were supposed to get her no matter what. She was a free unlock goal. She should be in a orange box, a rectangular box that's about like that big, about the size of this card. A box about this size of the card with her picture on it. It's orange, bright orange, you can't miss it. So we have her instruction manual about what you should get, how to play the Nessie mod. Now we have this, the trays. We're gonna go to this side because this is where all the minis are, and we're gonna stop at the minis because I want to do that when I can sit down with a better camera and the lighting, because the models are not primed, so we're gonna need better lighting. We have the definitely large boards. You get 6 of these, so you can do a 3v3. They are recessed. Mine look pretty okay. They don't seem to have moved from the gluing process. They really nice quality, same board game, like board game board quality, which we voted for during the Kickstart. Recessed, so you can stick your little stuff in here without it sliding out. Same with your ammunition. And we have what looks like reference cards. We have our cards for our characters, so they kind of tell you what they're all about. Then of course Loba's, hers is separated. I'm just gonna try putting that in with the others. Nope, okay. Then we have what looks like river tiles. So if you want to play rivers and stuff, that's kind of cool. Or if you say play games like Flames of War or other like bolt action stuff, just D&D even, you can use these. This would be very cool for a sci-fi, like if you're playing Starfinder, you'll find a lot of useful stuff in here. Next off we have, it looks like, is our legendary tokens. This is for Loba. Then we have the tiles, which we will build and show off later. This is your health counter. And the reason why I want to show this off later is because there's a couple of people have had issues trying to build these things, so I want to show you guys the right way to build these. So we will do that later on. Move this tray off. Oop, it's stuck. Well, I will give them credit. They make the trays so they stick. That's good. A lot of these game companies have an issue where they don't build the trays correctly and they just flop off. So there's a little lip on the side, little lippy Tupperware container style. This is where we have, it looks like, some of the main characters from the starter box. And there's a double tray underneath. So we have that tray, and we have that tray. So this is where all the characters are. That's cool. So if you want your game to be more secure, or if you bought the core box, or maybe I can ask them to send me the core box, buy it separately in the future, this is where they'd all lock in. Now I kind of like this more better, especially if I'm going to paint these guys up. They're loose in here. They're not like loose that they're going to fly out, but they're loose enough that they're not going to be scraping the edges. Now, Judgment has a setup like this where their models are in the starter box, and it's tight, which I really like. It stops them from flopping out everywhere. It holds it secure like foam. So I might paint them and leave the core models in here like this and just bring this, or stuff like that. Now, they do say you can build the model, like, you know, use the display trays with the models and have them standing. Starting on with that, we have the nice bags with emblems on it. This is really soft bags, actually. They're really soft material. And your lifeline bag. So these are where you pull out the tokens for when you loot stuff, so it's blind. On the side, we have our buildings. We have our Loba with its base. Kind of like how she's held in there. I might just keep her in there when I'm transporting this. That way she doesn't get brokey. We have the cards for a deathmatch, I believe. Then in this tray, oh, yeah, there's our plastic trays, our plastic you know what's. And then in here we have our heat shields. Yeah, these are the heat shields right here. I think these are grappling things. The barriers, and Nessie, the best boy. And of course this huge tray is for, I believe, the tokens and stuff once you open them. So on the bottom, as you can see, we have our trays. So this is the minis expansion, so it gives you can buy these separately. This is the miniatures expansion, so it gives you enough for a board, I think, a board and a half of supplies. These do actually open. Let's see if I can get one to open. At least on the demo ones they could open. Yeah, they open. Now be careful, these are not, unlike the demo ones where you could probably model these open and close, unlike the model ones, or the playtest ones, these do not have hinges. These are flimsy plastic, holds it closed on these. For the price, I wish these were like the demo ones they were sending out to people with metal hinges. All in all, it's not that bad. It's thin plastic. I think I'm just gonna build them and keep them shut. It is what it is. The 3D printed ones I got actually were detailed, and those I have open, so I'll just use that from when they're open. Next off we have, looks like, supply drops. And lifelines is with the models, but you got some of that. That goes that way. Then in here we have all the cards. So we have the player cards, the cards for moving border and stuff. We also have things for tokens. When we open this and sleeve it, there is space for it. Little informations, the cards for when you loot a box, your ammo counters, and a silica packet. This, I believe, is just there to kind of hold things together, you know, spacer. So this tray does go one way. I'd probably mark corners just to show which way it goes on. But it does go a specific way, or it won't lock. Now, to look at the buildings, here we go. So this is one of the buildings. This is the top half. Then this would slide in to another one. Now, I've seen a lot of people have concern about these buildings, and I am kind of in the same boat with them on these warnings. I understand why they did cardboard the way that they did with the buildings, but I worry that over time, when you build these, they're going to, you know, rip and tear and break. So I'm hoping in the future a company makes buildings for this game, but there's a proper way to fold it, but this is just an example. So building. So I'm hoping in the future somebody makes, like the people who do the Infinity terrain, I hope in the future they make like MDF versions of these. And yeah, because the other thing I've seen people do is they're going to build these and then they're going to put them into a comic box and leave them built. Which is probably the way I would do it if, again, this wasn't just a huge box. So with that, that's part one, that's side one done. I haven't seen my display bases. So I'm kind of a little anxious. So let's get right into right side. In the right side, we have our first tray. This seems like all stuff from the core box. We have our ammo counter, or our to hit counter. Goes together like a Hot Wheels track back in the day, or Tom's Tank Engine. Then under that we have more walls and roof tiles. And again, loose spots for if, say, we had, once we open everything, you know, sleeve it, bag it, or if we had like the solo all in, more compartments for that stuff. And we have underneath it, we have the turn order, which sits on top. We have the combination piece for combining the two boards together. More walls. Okay, good. Thank goodness. Okay, I thought I was scared. Explains why 90% of that is what it is. We have our cards. So these are for when you play the deathmatch mode. So they're predetermined, because in deathmatch there's no looting. You just get cards. And then this is where I'm guessing where you put the other cards once they're open. So there's that. These seem like it doesn't matter which way you put them back into the box. Now we have our dials. So this is your health and stuff. Again, I'll show you how to do that in the video. And tokens for the characters. Again, just a piece of cardboard to divide it with little cardboards in here. What is this? More walls. Okay. So, excuse me as I step around the camera, ASMR style. And we look in here. So we have more buildings, a lot more buildings. We have our, oh, there they are. Looks like they just kind of fill them through all around. So we have our blinders. So when you play the actual game mode, you know, where you can loot boxes and stuff. You use these shields to represent your team and to block your backpack. If you buy the Lobo one, you get a skin. So these are like for playing the board game, showing it off. And then if, say, you want to, you're playing at a tournament, bring your own guy, your own single model, you can use this as a skin, basically. So we have the fun part here. This is the display boards. Each character has one. And as you can see, they kind of fit in there. Really nice plastic injection. Walls already in there, but you can see where it is. So it looks like there's 2 rows of these. Now just pulling it out and shaking it, I'm loosely holding it. So yeah, see, so just shaking it, you have to shake it quite a bit for it to pop out. So they're pretty decent, I would say, for quality. Oh, and there's more underneath. Now, allegedly, these boards are supposed to be so that the circles inside are slightly off, or they're lipped or something, so that the models clip in when you put them in, and they're held. And that's just for the models, though, the player models. This is Bloodhounds. As you can see, there's these little holes right here. This is where their birds stand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get thin magnets, and I'm going to put them in the bases and then put them underneath the bases of the characters. So that way they're magnetized to these and they're not getting rickety wrecked. So we get one for every character. As you can see, we got some of their explodey bits in here. I believe this is the Gibraltar one. Now we get to the bottom part here. So we have more punch outs here. I'm just going to open it up quickly. Yeah, here's all the tokens. So I'm going to definitely leave this out. But yeah, here's your sheets of tokens. Oh. Then we have the board flags for capture the flag or whatever. Turn markers. Stuff like that. Little pips and things to hold these. Rocks. Formations. Heat shields if you didn't get the physical ones. Locks and stuff to see that the box hasn't been opened. Death markers. Oh, these are the zip lines. Zip lines. Things for that. Loot boxes or drop markers. You get 2 sheets of these. More walls and stuff. Then, okay, so I think the last tray we saw that had these all kind of line up. That was the board game expansion. This is the core box. So those little squares that you saw that were like, I'm like, oh, the telephone poles attached to, they actually go to these trees here. They attach to these. No, the trees go. Yeah, no, I'm right. Ignore me. I'm getting too excited again. All right, these all go together. So this tree goes into that tree goes into that tree, boulder to boulder, boulder to boulder. The drop boxes, your stuff, so on and so forth. You get 2 sheets of those. So I'm gonna go put this back together, and in the next scene, we will have the models out and we will look at them in greater detail. This is the minis, so we're going to be looking at the character minis. Now, when you open your box, you might find this loose. That's fine. This is Gibralto's shield. You have the arm right here, so you have physically, and all you do is, if you want him to have a shield, little holes right here, and you just make sure the pegs line up, and boom, they fit right in. This is really neat and cool because if, say, you're using his ability or he's just taking damage, or if you want to paint him without getting the effect wrecked, you can do that. And he does fit in his slot with the shield in, so you don't have to worry about that. Same with here on Bloodhound. If you're missing this piece off his back, it does come off, though I am a little concerned about wear and tear over time. But this is his new hunter's mark. It used to be a token in the demo, so take that as you will. Wraith, she has a blue piece on her arm, so it does come off her. So again, if you want her with or without the piece, it does come on and off. That's all the models. Now we're going to take a look here at what I've 3D printed, just to see kind of where they line up. And yeah, they're actually pretty close to the right height, and base is a little bit bigger, but it's about the right size, and that's it versus the stand. Now we're going to look at each one of these individually. So starting, we have Lifeline, Bloodhound, Bangalore. It's a little kind of crooked, but the sort of plastic that these are made out of, you can just with hot water bend them back and let them dry. We have Wraith in her normal costume. If you see my last painting Wraith video, that was her alternate skin from the game. And then we have Gibby or Gibralto. And then we have Pathfinder. You've bought this and you're wondering where the core expansion and the expansion 1 and Squad 1 and Squad 2 went. Squad 1 got absorbed into the core box to give you 6 players, basically to give you all the characters that are instantly unlocked at the start when you first play Apex. And then Squad 1 expansion was Squad 2, and that got all absorbed. So that's the core models. Looking at the expansion stuff, we have first one, I believe this is Mirage. I could be wrong. We have Mirage's clone. And we have this guy. And we have Octane. Then we have Caustic. Now this is one that people have had issues with their Cosket breaking. So then lastly we have Revenant with the flatline. And then for extra stuff we have the extra pieces. So we have Octane's jump pad, again hollow, great for magnets. We have this portal-y thing, I think this might be Watson's, again with the nice effect. Painter's tape are going to be your friends here. the birds. There's 3 of these. I'm not going to try taking it off. Magnets can be put on there. And then we have little drone. And then we have this pylon thing, Wraith's Portals. So these are all the models here. You get quite a bit for player models. My Revenant makes sense. He's spindly. My Pathfinder was fine. So I got to fix my Bangalore also. All the minis I printed were fine. If you guys want measurements, smallest model, Octane. So bottom of the base, it's about 1.5 inches tall. For the tallest model, he is about 2 inches tall from the bottom side of the base to the top of his shield here. So with that, I'm going to go put these away, and we will come back with the closing statement of the video. So guys, this has been the unboxing of the Apex Legends. I am so excited for this game. We're going to be doing this all week. We're going to be every day at 4 p.m. EST. We're going to be painting up a model from the core box, and if we get that done quickly, we're going to be painting other stuff up with the goal of us being able to run a demo game here on Saturday. Now, is that going to be at home where I can stream it, or is it going to be battle report style where I take after photos? Who knows? Forgive me, it's spring's hitting. It's really humid and warm in here. I've been at this for 6 hours today, 8 hours almost. Unpacking this thing, sleeving, sorting, and tips and tricks and stuff here that I've learned. So there's that. So please forgive the clean shirt and all that stuff. So all in all, my final thoughts on this as of the unboxing, because I have played the game and the other modes and stuff on Tabletop Simulator, which they have an official demo. If you guys want to play it, I'll have the link down below if you have Tabletop Simulator or a friend who has it that will share play with you. This is the most excited I have been for a game in like 10 years. Next to another one that I forgot. That's how excited I am. Cyberpunk, I believe. Cyberpunk was the only other one. So excited and so like rushed that to eat today. I freaking have all the burps and stuff in the world. Anyways, so my final thoughts on these, tips and tricks, things I can think of. Again, this is going off if you bought the all-in versions. So it came, or you bought the black box itself. The core box and all that stuff, you buy them separately or you don't go all in. You'll have like the original boxes that they come in, which I kind of like. Pros and cons with my experience with this. Despite the long wait of 3 years for this thing to finally get here, only real things I can say and what I view on this is the shape of this box is really weird. So what I did, I've drilled holes into the corners and one on each side. So as I push this down, air escapes, and it's a lot easier to push this down without it bowing out like crazy and cracking or ripping. The other thing I found, what I'll get into, is stuff. But that's a tip. Another tip I found is the miniatures. If you bought the all-in gamer edition, the one that comes with the display plates where you put the minis in them. Once you build the cardboard versions of, like the respawn beacons, the heat shields and stuff, they replace where those trays were where the minis come in originally. So unless you're going to be tossing out that cardboard or you didn't get the all-in with the display bases, you're probably going to have to toss out those trays and use the display bases to store it, which in that instance I would highly recommend buying thin magnets for the miniatures that go in there. Or if you know somebody who's good at modeling, with a little bit of green stuff and a pin drill out some holes for like the thinner things like the Watson's telephone poles or Bloodhound's birds, so that they can peg into the hole, or the peg with a magnet under the tray can help it stick. Besides that, if you're going to tournaments or events when this thing really gets kicked up in May, you'll be carrying only 2 little display pieces anyways to a tournament, because they're going to be supplying the board games and stuff, allegedly. So that's not going to be too much of a deal, but for long-term storage and stuff, this is a game just like Gloomhaven. Once you put the organizers in and you've got it fully open, you can't turn this to its side or everything's going to fall out, like the little tokens and stuff, and that's the hardest part. Besides that, everything else clips together in the trays and is held in place. I like how you build everything and then it's stored, so you don't have to, every time you pull this out, put the little tabs back into the walls and stuff. It's just ready to go. Which can lead into our pros and cons section. Starting with pros, game is one of the best games I've played based off of a video game turned board game. For those who want to get just how I like how Gloomhaven and Jaws of the Lion especially is a way to get people into hobby grade gaming who may only play D&D with a group of friends or something, and they're like, I want to play D&D but I don't got a lot of time, or there's only 2 of us. You can be like, Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven is the pinnacle of D&D board game in a box. It's a whole campaign in a box, especially with 2nd edition coming out for Gloomhaven, or Frosthaven even, if you want one of those two. Great experiences. But we haven't had something like that for Kill Team. The closest thing we've had was Judgment, which I think is a superior game when it comes to a fantasy MOBA-esque skirmish game for that you want to get board gamers into. Love it. The guys there are awesome. Skinner and Simon, guys are great. There wasn't a sci-fi one, and this fills that void. This to me is the pinnacle of board game skirmish sci-fi games. And then this can easily lead into Infinity, Kill Team, stuff like that. An alternative to Games Workshop, this box, is that even just the core game itself comes with so much. And the fact that this has terrain in it that you can store really flat and easily. And once you've actually had everything clipped out and you put it together, this does actually clip together quite well for storage. This is one of the best built-in box, built-in shop storage solutions I've seen in game, even though the initial build everything and trying to put it back together was such a pain and required 2 people. Once you got that built, I think this thing is perfect how it is, and especially if you bought it where the boxes are in separate things, the core box, expansion boxes, it's going to be so much easier to store and take places to play. This is definitely the version which is for the fans, those who are really excited for it, or play at home, which is going to be mostly me most of the time. The pros, the models are, I say models are mid in the sense of the middle value. The models are nice, but they weren't as nice as what we were shown in games that they gave out to people to play 2 years ago, or ones that I 3D printed with resin. I know resin is better than injection mold plastics that they use for these things, but the models, even from the games that they were showing off closer to it, looked better. So I don't know if they were actually still 3D models, or if they were actually giving away game copies of these, but they're serviceable for board games and look like they can be painted up pretty easily, though you're not going to use your nicest brushes on this plastic unless you find 3D proxies, then I would, or if you can find those old demo sent out models where they were 3D printed, but all of those have been painted by professional YouTubers anyways, so you won't have to repaint them. The only models I can say are better on some of the models in here. They're definitely better than most board game models, but I find board game model technology is getting a lot better. Take a look at the more 2nd edition Zombicide or Song of Ice and Fire. That stuff, to me, is the pinnacle of the top tier of board game minis that are not designed to be wargaming minis. That's your intro into wargaming and artist brand minis. So with that all said, value that you got in this, if you went all in, was definitely worth it. I'm going to be picking up a second playmat because I got the board expansion once this is fully released in stores, so that I can just buy it when I have the money. Another great thing that happened once these did actually ship, it was here in a week of once I got that email being like, hey, a label made. So it took a week to get here, and I didn't pay anything extra. I just went in, the guy tried his best to pick it up, gave it to me, and I got to leave. So I love the idea behind the match play, competitiveness, the people who wrote the rules and the gameplay, just flipping through the books. Easy to understand, but complex to learn. It feels very much not a family game, but it's definitely people who play competitive board games will definitely like this game. And if you love model-based games like Zombicide, Gloomhaven, you're going to love how this plays, and it's a lot of fun. Out of this, I can basically run 3 games with the map expansion, and the core box. I can basically run 3 demo games of this out of this box. So that's a huge pro. Now on to the cons. And that's where that mid comes from the minis. The cons on the minis is the ones especially Bangalore or I even found with Wraith, even their details, they kind of had the same issues that Saiyan had in my Judgment review video, where their face and other little parts were just blobs. There's no detail at all. It's just going to be a pain to paint. I'm not going to do anything to it. But the models like Gibby or Pathfinder, Mirage, they were fine to even good for a board game mini that was one piece. And the fact that, I guess there's another pro, the fact that all the plasticky see-through parts that would sit on the model is removable for painting, so you don't wreck them, is awesome. And so there's that. Another con is you don't, and this is just for this in my personal opinion, you don't get the core box with this. And what I mean by that is you don't get the physical box that it comes in. They say in a selling point of this big special edition box is that you can either put it with the trays in it, or you can put the boxes as they are sealed with their trays in it inside of this box. So you can put a box inside of a box. And I kind of wanted that, so that way I can take the core box to go play at stores and play with friends, meet friends, demo it, while keeping my other stuff, my expansions and things in this box safe at home. So I kind of hope in the future I might be able to get that. Besides that, another con, now I don't know if this is just a Kickstarter printing error or if this is an actual error. When I was building the dials for the health counters, and if I do some fancy editing and have it up here, 3 of the shield dials were for the left side only and not the right side. And when you build it, this is a big PSA. While building your health dials, the circles that you put on them are different. There's a left side and a right side where the numbers, when you spin them inwards, will be right side up. So be very careful. It seems very Wild West how they put them on that punch out. So another con is the size, but that's a good con. In this configuration, I'd have to take everything I own to go to a shop to play. And especially when it gets really hot out, that plastic that's in here is going to start bending, it's going to flop, it's going to fall over, especially some of the more spindly guys like Revenant and Pathfinder. It's going to be a mess. So if you're a social gamer and you like to travel, when this comes out, buy the core box only and buy the expansions as you play. That's it. The only other con, I don't think there's any other cons. The only other con I can see, and this is kind of for, again, might be an exclusive to this, was the initial setup. This was the longest I ever took to punch out stuff, sleeve cards, and reconfigure it the way that it tells me. And a lot of the stuff I had to figure out my own. I had to even pull out a freaking jeweler's loop to look at the pictures on the paper that lays it out to like see how you build it. And it took me 5 hours. Gloomhaven building, or Frosthaven building the organizer trace and then organizing it only took me 2 at max. So that's a huge problem in my personal opinion. But again, I think that's only for people who bought this box. And once I did figure it out, it clicked and everything was like, it just snowballed and I was able to finish it. So tips for that, if you're putting this together, once you finally get your copy, build everything. Build the walls, put the little pucks onto the things that would slide into buildings. The trays are designed to hold everything built, including your boulders, your cardboard versions of the respawn beacons, all that stuff. It's designed to hold it built. Besides that, there's nothing else much I can say. I'm getting warm, I need water, I want to go rest and lay down. So with that, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm so excited for this week. Anyways, with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I am sweating. We will see you guys next time. Bye-bye. Click the video. Click it. Click the video, you know you want to. Click it.